There is a version of you that stops getting fooled, stops getting used, stops finding out 3 months too late that someone was never on your side. That version of you is not smarter than you. He's not luckier. He just sees one layer deeper than everyone around him. And in the next 10 minutes, you're going to install that layer, not with theory. With 5 laws a Florentine diplomat wrote down 500 years ago after watching power destroy person after person who refused to look at it clearly. Stay to the end, because the 5th one is the one that changes how you see yourself, not just other people. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's go. Law 1. Nobody is hiding their nature. You're just not looking at the right moment. You don't find out who someone is when everything is calm. Calm doesn't cost them anything. You find out who someone is the exact second they get leverage over you. A promotion, information, an audience, an advantage you don't have. Machiavelli watched rulers for a living, and he noticed the same thing over and over. People aren't corrupted by power. Power just removes the reason they were behaving. Think about someone who was warm to you, easy, agreeable, right up until they didn't need to be anymore. That wasn't a change in them. That was a reveal. The behavior you're seeing now, with nothing forcing them to be kind, is the behavior. Everything before it was a performance held up by necessity. So here's the shift. Stop asking, how does this person treat me? Start asking, how does this person treat someone who can't do anything for them? The waiter, the assistant, the person who lost. That answer is the real one. The one they give you is the negotiated one. Law 2. Your comfort with conflict is being used against you. Most people are conditioned from childhood to avoid friction. Don't make it weird. Don't cause a scene. Keep the peace. That instinct feels like good character. It's actually a vulnerability with a nice name, and the people who notice it in you will use it without ever calling it manipulation. They'll just quietly keep asking for one more thing, because they've learned you won't push back. This is where shadow work actually earns its name. Somewhere in you there's a program running that says conflict equals danger. It got installed early, maybe from a household where disagreement meant something worse was coming, and it's still running today, deciding in real time which boundaries you enforce and which ones you quietly let dissolve, because enforcing them feels unbearable. You don't fix this by becoming cold. You fix it by noticing the exact sensation in your body right before you cave. The tightness, the urge to smooth things over, the sentence forming that starts with, "It's fine, honestly." That sensation is not a warning. It's an old alarm going off for a threat that isn't actually in the room anymore. The moment you can feel it and hold still anyway, the program loses its grip. Law 3. Most of your reactions aren't decisions. They're defaults. Here's something uncomfortable. Most people don't think. They react, and then they build a reason afterward that makes the reaction sound like a choice. Machiavelli's entire advantage over the people he studied wasn't intelligence. It was a half-second gap he trained himself to hold between what happened and what he did about it. In that gap is the only place a real decision has ever been made. Everywhere else is autopilot. Your brain runs on shortcuts because shortcuts are efficient. Someone disagrees with you, defensive. Someone praises you, trust rises instantly. Someone goes quiet, you assume the worst. None of that is thinking. That's your nervous system filling in blanks with old patterns, because pausing to actually look feels slower and riskier than just reacting. The rewire is almost embarrassingly simple, which is exactly why nobody does it. Before you respond to anything that has a charge on it, an accusation, a compliment, a silence, a slight, you take one breath and ask a single question. Is this what's actually happening, or is this what I'm used to assuming happens? That question alone will save you from more bad decisions than any personality trait you were born with. Law 4. Waiting feels safe. It is usually the most expensive thing you do. There is a window in almost every hard situation in your life, a stretch of time where the problem is still small, the cost is still low, and you still have real options. And almost nobody moves inside that window. They wait for more certainty. They wait for the discomfort of acting to feel smaller than the discomfort of staying still. It never does. So the window closes, the cost multiplies, and what could have been a 5-minute conversation becomes a crisis you're now reacting to instead of choosing. Here's the test that actually separates preparation from avoidance, because from the inside they feel identical. If another week of waiting would teach you something you genuinely don't know yet, wait. If another week would just be another week of you already knowing what you need to do and not doing it, that's not patience. That's fear, dressed up as patience, running the same program as Law 2, just wearing a different outfit. Law 5. Here's the one that changes everything. The awareness has to point inward first. Everything so far has been about reading other people, watching what they protect, watching what shows up when they get power, watching the gap between their words and their patterns. And all of that is real. All of that will make you harder to fool. But here's what almost nobody tells you, and it's the reason most people watch a video like this, feel something click, and go right back to exactly who they were yesterday. The same clarity you're learning to point at other people has to eventually point back at you, or none of it actually works. Ask yourself the question you just asked about everyone else. When your interest and your stated values pointed in opposite directions, what did you actually do? What do you protect without question, even when it costs someone else? How do you treat people who can't do anything for you? Who are you the moment nobody's watching and nothing's at stake? Most people can't answer that honestly, because the story they've built about themselves is more comfortable than the truth. But comfortable stories are exactly what you just spent 9 minutes learning to see through in other people. If you only aim that skill outward, you haven't gained awareness. You've just gained a new way to feel superior while staying exactly the same. Real transformation, the kind that actually holds, starts the moment you turn the same unflinching honesty on yourself that you now use on everyone else. That's the dangerous part. Not that you'll see people more clearly, that you'll finally see yourself. Drop "I see clearly" in the comments if this one landed. And if you actually want the next layer of this, the part where clarity turns into leverage you can use without becoming someone you don't respect, that's coming. Don't miss it.